in the quiet hills of northern Colorado, where pine trees sway gently in the mountain breeze and the night sky glows with countless stars, lay a small and peaceful town called Willow Creek. People often said Willow Creek was blessed. Its rivers were clear, its forests were calm, and its nights were the kind that made you slow down and breathe a little deeper. But the town had one very special secret. Every night, without fail, a warm golden glow shimmered from a little wooden cabin on the hill. The people simply called him the Lantern Keeper. Chapter 1: The Cabin on the Hill. The Lantern Keeper, an old man named Elias Rowan, lived alone in his cozy cabin overlooking the entire valley. His beard was silver like moonlight, and his eyes held a gentle sparkle that made children feel safe. Elias didn't talk much, but everyone knew what he did every night. He lit an ancient lantern that had been passed down through generations. And as long as the lantern burned, the people of Willow Creek believed the town would sleep safely and peacefully. Chapter 2: A Curious Visitor. One crisp autumn evening, a curious 12-year-old girl named Mara Bennett decided she wanted to know the truth about Elias's lantern. She heard stories that it had magical powers. Some said it kept nightmares away, and some said it guided lost travelers home. So bundled in her warm jacket, Mara followed the winding path up the hill. The grass glowed softly under the moonlight, and the forest whispered as if encouraging her forward. When she reached the cabin, the lantern was glowing brighter than usual. Warm, golden, and strangely comforting. Elias stepped outside, surprised but smiling. "Couldn't sleep, could you?" he asked kindly. Mara shook her head. "I wanted to know, why is your lantern so special?" Elias chuckled softly. "Special? I suppose you could say that. But sometimes, child, light becomes special only when someone needs it." Chapter 3: The Story of the Lantern. Elias invited Mara inside. The cabin smelled of cedarwood and warm tea. Old books filled the shelves, and a soft fire crackled in the hearth. He lifted the lantern gently, the glass glowing like honey. "This lantern was forged more than 100 years ago," he began. "But Traveler was lost in a terrible storm and wandered into Willow Creek. The townspeople cared for him, and in gratitude, he crafted this lantern, infusing it with something rare: hope." Mara's eyes widened. "Hope?" "Yes," Elias nodded. "Every night we light it, it spreads calmness over the town. It reminds us that no one is ever truly alone." Chapter 4: A Storm Approaches. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the valley. Mara rushed to the window. Dark clouds rolled in quickly. A powerful mountain storm was forming, lightning flashing in the distance, winds bending the tall pines. Elias stood slowly. "This storm will be strong, stronger than most," he whispered. "Tonight, the lantern's glow will be needed more than ever." But as he reached to adjust the lantern flame, a sudden gust of wind burst through the window, blowing out the light completely. The room fell into darkness. Chapter 5: The Search for the Lost Flame. Mara gasped. Elias held the lantern gently, studying it. "It hasn't gone out in decades," he murmured. "We must relight it. But this flame cannot come from any ordinary match. It must come from the heart tree." Mara had heard of that place, a giant old oak deep inside the forest, glowing faintly at night. People rarely visited it, especially during storms. But she stood tall. "I'll help you," she said firmly. Elias smiled. "Then we must hurry." Chapter 6: Through the Storm. The storm raged as they walked into the forest. Wind whipped through the branches. Leaves fluttered like frightened birds. But Elias held the lantern close, and Mara stayed by his side. The deeper they went, the more the forest seemed to guide them. Branches parting, the path clearing just enough. Finally, they reached it. The heart tree stood tall and ancient, its bark glowing with a soft, warm light, like embers from a gentle fire. Chapter 7. Relighting Hope. Elias knelt beside the oldest root and whispered an old chant. The tree responded, a tiny spark glowing at the center of its trunk. Carefully, he lifted the lantern toward the spark. The spark leapt inside, blossoming into a warm, golden flame. The lantern was alive again. The moment it lit up, the storm around them calmed slightly. Winds slowing, thunder fading. Light radiated through the trees, calming the whole forest. Chapter 8. A Peaceful Dawn. By the time Elias and Mara returned to the cabin, the storm had passed. The lantern shone brighter than ever, its glow spreading across Willow Creek like a warm blanket. The town slept peacefully, unaware of the adventure unfolding in the hills. Elias placed the lantern on its stand and smiled at Mara. "You were brave tonight," he said. "Hope needs brave hearts." Mara smiled proudly. "I just didn't want the town to lose its light." Chapter 9. A New Keeper. The sun began to rise, painting the valley in soft orange light. Birds chirped, and the storm's last raindrops sparkled like tiny crystals. Elias looked thoughtful. "Mara, someday I will grow too old to climb this hill," he said quietly. "This lantern, it will need a new keeper." Mara's heart fluttered. "You mean me?" Elias nodded. "If you wish, the lantern chooses those with kind souls." She nodded eagerly, and from that day on, Mara visited the cabin often, learning everything about the lantern, the forest, and the power of hope. Ending. The light lives on. Years later, when Elias finally passed on the lantern to her, Willow Creek continued to sleep peacefully every night. And high on the hill, the warm golden glow never faded. Because as long as the lantern shone, as long as hope was passed from one heart to another, Willow Creek would always be safe. And so, the lantern keeper's light lived on, guiding dreams, calming storms, and reminding everyone that even in the darkest night, there is always a gentle glow waiting to lead you home.